um, of Aaron blossoming when they were placed next to the Arden Kite, next to the Oil Mayad, to be able to show that Aaron was the Kohen Gadol and supposed to be the leader instead of all the other people that had put their staffs out over there next to the Oil Mayad, etc. The heads of the tribes itself. Hine parach mata Aaron, that the staff of Aaron blossomed by Yigmol Shkedim, and it started growing almonds. Taib b'zam the Torah so Parsha Seinu, and the Torah at the end of our parsha says, so too in the Sefer Darch Secha, the mitzvah Birchas Kohanim speaks about the significance of the almonds, like we're about to speak about. Having to be able to understand Lamish Kedim Dafka, why specifically almonds? What was unique? What was special that that we had the staff grow almonds? Mefarbaze explains about this that almonds are the quickest to conclude and end their growth or their blossoming, however exactly what process it's talking about over there, of all different fruits and all different types of crops. That's why it's called Shkedim. It's called Shakid because that is the meaning of the word Shakid. Shakid shows on something that's done quick. And we hear this idea of quickness, like it says in Yirmiyahu Navi, Makel Shakid Goimer, that when he saw the prophecy, he saw the nevuah, that he was shown the nevuah by Hashem of the imminent destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. So that imminent destruction was indicated by him seeing a almond stick. What's the significance of it being almonds? Because I'm diligent and I'm doing speedily the matter to do this. So we see from here that the almond stick indicates this idea of the speed with which Hashem is going to be doing so. So why specifically was this used there by Aaron's indication of his kahuna? The Fire Shaman explains over there in Kuditorah, Aaron, this has to do with Aaron being a kohen. To say, like a simple matter, that the growth and the sprouting of Aaron's staff, Aaron was a sign for Aaron's kahuna. Who one of the ideas of Aaron's being a kohen is in Birchas Kohanim, the idea of a kahanic blessing, the duchening, the brachas that the Kohanim give to the Yid. The novelty, uniqueness of Birchas Kohanim over all other brachas is from the Mehira says it is the idea, the way Birchas Kohanim works is that the results of the Birchas Kohanim come down very quickly as opposed to other brachas. The idea behind this is that it's known the difference between bracha, when someone gives someone else a bracha, versus when someone davens for something. Before become Medrushim, like it's explained in many Mamorim, but Frat Medrushim Marash, pleasure of the Marash, when Yuchid, Medrushim Bereich Sefer Amram Tavrish Chavtes, especially in the Maimer at the beginning of Sefer Amram Tavrish Chavtes. In that field, who idea that idea of davening is through a request down here below. I know she told him avoided the matter, it's dependent on the avoided down here. In addition to the fact that it's possible to take time, that's first one thing is that since it's coming from below, since it's coming from us, so the result of that is not the result, but therefore it needs us to do the work. And this is in addition to the fact that tefillah takes time. The result of the davening to draw this down, because we down here are the ones that bring it down. In addition to that, the actually is tefillah could either accomplish all of it, or could only accomplish half of it, like Chazal say. I'm supposed to that its idea is about being coming down from above. What does it mean is coming down from above? The fact that the one that's giving the brach is like above the source of the brachas, and he is drawing it down and he's giving over from the root and the source. He's bringing down the brachas. This amshacha is completely perfect above. It's independent of the person, what he's doing down here. And therefore, the delay is not so much, even though it is possible to be delayed, like we're soon going to explain. And also, it's not a matter of half or whole. A bracha is giving the whole thing. But still in all, despite that advantage that bracha has over davening, this itself, there's an advantage in birchas kohanim over all the other brachas. The b'shara brachas, yitachin shabracha tesakiv, and all other brachas, it's possible that the bracha will be delayed and can get caught in the middle of what I like to call the spiritual bureaucracy, as we'll explain it soon. As opposed to birchas kohanim, that the way it comes down is in the way of speed and alacrity. The idea of birchas kohanim has to do with not just I need one special thing, but the general hashpah of what's necessary in this world. That's what he continues over there in that mime, both in look at the Torah and the Yidua. It's known the main judgment of a person is on Rosh Hashanah. Then on Rosh Hashanah, Yidden are inscribed and sealed immediately in this form of Tzadikim Gemurim. The Rebbe always looks at the positive, even though the Chazal give over there three options of what type of books the person can be written in and so on. The Rebbe says, straight to the good. Since then we're inscribed, and we're sealed for what's going to be for the entire year on Rosh Hashanah. What's the idea of davening? And davening is mitzvah Torah. Meaning, there's a mitzvah to ask Hashem for our needs. Why are we asking? To such a degree do we have to daven. We have to daven 3 Shemoneh Esrei daily. The Mamonim Shach. Either way you look at it, something doesn't make any sense over here. If a person needs to daven every day, meaning every day he has to ask Hashem, please send me heal my sick, send me the crops for the year, etc. Is Maui Naksiba similar altar something more Russian? What's the idea of the immediately being inscribed and sealed in this form of complete tzaddikim on Russia? If the idea is entirely accomplished on Rosh Hashanah in Kimadu, why do we need to have daily davening? And the Mamorim explain about this. Though there's actually a dispute in the Gemara, is a person judged daily for their needs? Will they live? Will they have parnasa, etc., etc.? Or are they judged once a year on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, etc.? The Rebbe says, in truth, in truth, they're both saying individual and separate things, and they're not really arguing. Really, they are talking about different and distinct things. What's the difference? That which comes down in Rosh Hashanah is in the root and the source of the matter. That in that matter there is the judgment of the person on Rosh Hashanah. So it should afterwards descend the days of the year and in every place. For this, one needs to have that the Hamshacha should pass through the entire Seder Shtalshus. So on Rosh Hashanah, it was decreed that I should have Parnasa, for example. But then that manifestation of that chayis that came down on Rosh Hashanah needs to pass through the entire Seder Ishtalshlos till on the very day of that year that I need to have this parnasa to come out. So he says, whole darga v'shlav Seder Ishtalshlos, in every level, in every stage of Seder Ishtalshlos, just Bezdin Chodosh, there's a new Bezdin, bureaucracy, Adon that judges him tzaddik if he has to draw down to him hamshacha down below. It's possible that hamshacha will only be spiritually and not physically. Just like we find in the spiritual service of Hashem. As it's known, there's different types of Ovdim Hashem. Those are primarily concerned about their soul and elevating their soul and transforming their soul and connecting their soul with Hashem. And those are mainly focused about dealing with their body and transforming it from its core state and so on. Often it is because those that are spiritually elevated initially, they don't have to face the challenges of the body. So therefore, they're not dealing with the body that much. Or because there's a difference in those that are, their job is to be involved in Torah, and others, their job is to be involved in worldly matters. Be that as it may, just like in Avodah, there's the neshama type of Avodah people versus body type of Avodah people. So too, it's when Hashem gives us hashpahs. It could be more of a neshama hashpah and more of a body hashpah. It's possible that hashpah will be only spiritually in the neshama. It's possible that hashpah will be down in begashmias in a physical body with children, with life and sustenance, and all of them. They should be comfortable in physical way. So that's a possibility. That could be that way or it could be the other way. That is all why we need to, after Rosh Hashanah, we need to daven on a daily basis. Because the Hamshachah that comes out of Rosh Hashanah could be that we'll just get a spiritual ashpah, that the good year or the good children, etc., will remain in the spiritual world. So we have to daven daily. The daily davening is about pushing it through that Bezdin that judges and reviews to see if it's worthwhile to come down here to the physical world, to make sure that here in the physical world I should be able to pay my rent. Here in the physical world, I should have physical health, etc. That is all when we come to either the brachas or davening, etc., etc. Mashenkim birchas kainim, as opposed to the birchas kainim, sham shechasi boy from the mehiras v'zrizos, that it's hamshach is no way of speed and alacrity. The way the bracha is in its highest source, until Hashem's very essence. So it comes down very much below, in the lowest place possible. The reason for this, the reason why Dashpa through Birchas Kainim is speedily without any type of obstacle, they're laying, the drawing down, because Aaron is a man of kindness. So to Aaron's offspring, the Aaron's descendants, in other words, the Kohanim, that they were, to them was given over the job of benching Yidden with Birchas Kohanim. Their idea is also the idea of Chesed. Here the Rebbe brings in an interesting thing in the parentheses. We can also, every Yid can be considered like having this capability as well. It says, similar to this is also in the students and disciples of Aaron. So of the students and disciples of Aaron, love, peace, etc. I'm not sure if the Rebbe is saying that someone that has this type of Isha Chesed of Aaron can also give brachas similar to the way the Kohen do. But be that as it may, so it says, when Midas HaChesed is involved in the Hashpah, when the level of the attribute of kindness, so then it bursts through all barriers. It comes quickly, speedily, without any obstacles, without any delays. And specifically, The chesed of Aaron he's going to explain right now, because there's different levels of chesed. Amnon, binyan chesed gufa, yeshlam kamat dargis, heim bekamas, heim be'echus, and kindness itself. There's many levels, both quantitatively and qualitatively. In the beginning, chesed, anim shchai Aaron, the beginning rav chesed, shalomayim vidvagbol. The chesed that comes down through Aaron is a level of much chesed that's beyond measure and boundary. In the beginning chesed, there's two levels of chesed. Chesed oil. Chesed of the world, meaning it's a limited chesed. So we explain. The Rav chesed means much chesed, unlimited. The chesed of the world is a chesed that's limited of the chain order of descent of the world. Therefore, this chesed has to pass through the entire chain order of descent. As opposed to the level of the great chesed that's beyond Seder Shtalshlus. Therefore, the way it comes down is without any boundaries and any types of separations or divisions and so on. It comes down below the way it's above. It says that the days Hashem will command His chesed. Why does it say their days? Yomam means their days in the plural. What does chesed have to do with their days? So first of all, we know that every single day is another midah of Hashem. When it says day shows on Revelation, that means that there's the 6 middas, each one had to do with a different day. But chesed is called yoimam, their days. Why? So it says for what reason? Because chesed travels along with all the days. Gvura had to have chesed along with it. The Teferes, when the creation of the world on Tuesday, had to have the Teferes, chesed was along with it, and so on. But the Rebbe expands it, not just concerning those particular hamshachas of the spheres of Atzilus or those particular days in the creation, but it means that chesed is azam kol yomin. It has to go along. Whenever anything has to come down powered by chesed. So this he brings of the Torah, what the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, at the end of Tanya, the Geras HaKodesh says, it says the kindnesses, in plural, of Hashem, that we were not either finished, done, complete. We'll soon explain what that means. The Chazdei Losher Habim, the Alter Rebbe explains why they say the kindnesses of Hashem. Could have said the kindness of Hashem is that whatever happened. But the fact that it says kindness is in the plural, koyal, beis b'chinas chesed, is going on 2 levels of chesed. Chesed olam b'rav chesed. Chesed of the world, which is the limited chesed, and the much chesed. V'zeu chazdei Hashem kilei samnu. That's the meaning where it says that the kindness of Hashem, that we did not finish. What does that mean? That we're not incomplete. Peter, which said Alter Rebbe explains over there in the Geras HaKodesh, Lafisha, loy samnu, because we are not complete. It doesn't say Chazdei Hashem loy samu, that the kindnesses of Hashem did not end. But loy samnu, we did not. What does that mean? Because she'ein anu tmim mishleimim v'cholu, since we are not complete and whole, therefore we are unworthy of Hashem's regular chesed, the type of chesed of the world, the chesed that's in the way of quid pro quo. We do this, the result is that. But rather, therefore, the way we have to act, Alter Rebbe says, is what Hashem's kindness. What's Hashem's other kindness is, meaning not just the limited kindness of Hashem, but the unlimited kindness of Hashem. Why? Because when we act towards another in a way of unlimited kindness, so then that's going to quid pro quo in a way, or midah connected midah b'ma olam. Look at the inspire and waken upon us a supernal mercy and kindness through Rav Chesed. That's the much Chesed that we spoke about before. And compassion and mercy without any boundary and end. But upon him, what do we see from this? That there's a greater Chesed, higher than Seder Shtalshlus, that's not limited by certain things. From this is also understood concerning our topic. It's also in this low world that there's nothing, that there's no world lower than it. That's the idea of Aharon, the man of kindness. He's a level of much kindness. He's a level of chesed that's higher than Seder Ishtalshus. V'lechein hu mamshich bracham olmayla mata b'ayvim shel mehirus b'lishum hagbalas v'efsekim. That's why he draws down the bracha from above to below in a way of speed, without any types of boundaries and without any types of cutting off. Shetumshcha bracha ma'baka v'shoyrish lamata b'gash so'ilam. The bracha should come down from the source and the root, down here below in the physicality of the world. That's what we say. I want to get through the mimer today, so we can start a new mimer next week. This is what we say in Birchas Kohanim. What does it mean? Hashem should bench you and guard you. Chazal said, he should bench you with money and he should guard you from those that can hurt you. The bracha is in money. Money is the most physical thing. Literally physical money. That the spiritual kindness comes down immediately. The gashmi is in the physical. The bracha should come down in physical money. Why is physical money so important that we make that the first one of the Birchas Kohanim? So the Rebbe explains that this is because the great mila of the money of a yid. We had this not too long ago, a few more months back, connected with also the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov on Maimer Azal, and with Chazal say, that Hashem, that the Torah had great pity and compassion on Yidden's money. Therefore, the Torah had mercy even on an earthenware vessel. It's only worth a pruta. That's why the Kohen emptied out the entire house of a possible B'tzoyra house, so that the Kli Cheres, which is the only thing that have to be broken, should not become tummy. We find even concerning other halachas that if something is worth a pruta, even anywhere in the world, it also already has value according to Torah. Why is money, even of such a small amount, make a difference to Torah? Who the content behind the matter is, there's even importance that matter. It's only worth a pruta because there are sparks that are assigned and has this yid's name on it, and therefore we don't want to ruin it, we don't want to destroy it, because then that spark is not elevated. Also in one pruta he could have acquired the life of his soul. That's what the Chazal said. That tzedakah is equal to and all the other mitzvahs. And tzedakah is so great that brings the geula close. So therefore, the idea that the kohanim give the bracha in mammon is a very vital and very crucial part of the yid's avodah and his halos and tzaitzes. So too it's understood concerning our topic. For this reason, the great and such a lofty bracha like Birchas Kohanim would think, why are you wasting on such minor things? It's true, it's about the physical, children and life and sustenance and the comfortable matter, and mamish the physical. You should bench you with mom. So too we see how low it is when we have to have a bracha from those that can do damage. Because I can't wear mazikim also in such a place where there are things that could damage a person. So it shows that it's a very low place. Also over there, the bracha affected. There should be the matter they should be guarded. Like we said before, the bracha of Birchas Kohanim without any boundaries and without any cutting off, comes down below like it is above. This is what it says, that the mata Aharon blossomed Viegmol Shkedim Dafka specifically gave forth almonds and Mekim Sham Shachash idea Aharon, you believe Shabbat also of Seki. Since what comes down through Aharon is without any boundaries, without any types of cutting off, comes down below the way it's above. Okay, now therefore the hint for Birchas Kohanim with the idea of almonds, the Ashkedim, the Gomer Yosim call Peretz with Fuas Canal, because the almonds complete and end before all other fruits and crops, like we said before. We can add to this, though Birchas Kohanim is an everlasting mitzvah for all generations. We also need the idea of the almonds. Seemingly, what does that help? because you need to have, in a matter that's everlasting, you need to have right away at the beginning to be recognizable the everlasting nature of it. Like it says in Torah, on what it says concerning Mashiach's times, it's a day that's entirely long. What's it mean, a day that's entirely long? When you say something is long, the length is at the end, not at the beginning. The end goes on very long. You don't say the person is entirely tall. He's a tall person because he's a head or two heads taller than other people. He's a tall person. What's the idea? Kuli Arich. So Alter Rebbe in Torah explains Shagambit Chilasi Arich. Also at the beginning, he's already long. What does that mean? That means already at the beginning of the day, it's a totally different caliber day that you can already tell that's going to be long without a boundary. Himself to the sign of the staff of Aaron that gave forth the almonds. This was right away at the beginning of Aaron's being a kohen. Not too long after Matan Torah, already there was the sign of this type of power to be able to reach very, very far. This indicates that this general kohenship and this birkas kohenim is in a way of speed and quickness that's beyond bounds. At the conclusion of the Maimer, he brings down there's two levels of almonds. Alter Rebbe says shkedim for negative and shkedim for good. In other words, like we said by Yirmiyahu Navi, his almonds was showing how the speed, about how the destruction would take place. So, and there's also the good almonds, like we were talking about in our Maimer, because kind of maybe in similarly, when you understand why did Alter Rebbe bring this idea over here in this Maimer, seemingly it's only out to bring a note, a footnote where this comes from. So the Rebbe says, no, the very important message of transforming the negative to the positive. Say the explanation this is the idea of the sign of the staff of Aaron blossoming. This was only revealed after the dispute with Korach. That dispute of Korach was against the kindship of Aaron. Like it says, in the morning, Hashem will let known who's his. The only after this dispute, only after the great advantage of light out of the darkness and the greatness of wisdom out of the foolishness of likeness, in such a way that darkness transformed to light and bitterness to sweet. This Aaron was refined, the power of the kunishab of Aaron. Then was also revealed in him the quickness and the speed of this almond stick. That's why the Alter Rebbe in the Maimer brings also that there is negative ideas of almonds. Why is there negative almonds like the quickness of the Eibishter destroying the base of Migdash that he showed Yirmiyahu Navi? It's not because of the negative, but it's because to transform it to good. Then it has this advantage of transforming darkness to light, and the great advantage of light over darkness, like I said, that Yitzchak told Esav, make me tasty foods, Lashon Rabim in the plural. Like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, that there's also a type of tasty foods that comes from transforming the dark, the bad to good. This is also the explanation of the meaning of the bracha, that it should guard you from those that hurt you, or can hurt you. Seemingly it's not understood. Why is the Eibishter in a bracha allowed to remain those that can hurt and damage, and only says, I'll protect you from them? Since anyway we're drawing down the bracha from above, and the great and lofty bracha, like we said earlier at length, it could have been completely destroying the those that could hurt and damage. Like it says in Parshas Choisai, I will cease bad animals, wild animals from the earth. Like the simple meaning in ceasing, that he will remove them from the world. The same thing in the bracha Birchas Kohanim should have said, not Yishmerecha min hamazikim, but I will destroy the mazikim. I will get rid of the mazik. But the idea is, like we said before, that the point is hapcha. The advantage of Birchas Kohanim is transforming darkness to light. That's the idea of protecting from those that could damage. You relieve those that could damage in their existence, and you only protect them. But eventually through this guardianship, they're transforming those that could damage themselves, that they should become, instead of damaging, they become good. It's similar to the second explanation in what it says in Parshat Kosai, that I will make the wild animals cease from the earth. I'll make them cease, not that they will stop existing, but the wild animals will not hurt, even though they were previously wild. And this is the famous thing about what it says about the Nevuah by Mashiach. There's so much possible. Also, it says in the future by Mashiach's time, the Gorzev and Keves, that a wolf will live together with a sheep, and a young child will lead them. The Koyal B'nai Yisrael, the young child is referring to the Yidden. K'nar Yisrael Vaveil, like it says that the Yidden are youth and Hashem loves them. An example of a wild animal that will remain and will be transformed. Chazal said, that after the sin of the Eitz Hadas, a great servant was lost from the world. Before the sin, the snake was a great servant. And afterwards, he turned around to be the opposite of serving Hashem. Also, when Mashiach comes, the snake will be transformed to good. By Gam Miles of will be in him also the advantage of transforming the bad to the good. Like it says, he says that a young toddler, a nursing baby, will play by the hole of a snake and the cave where snakes hide, because the snakes won't be able to hurt. Adrab, they'll be a great servant, they'll be transformed. Kashi means that Gam close, meaning you may be him. We could explain this idea with the general idea of the 3 weeks. He said this was what Yirmiyahu saw. He saw the Shkedim. That was the beginning of the period of 3 weeks, because a shapke takes 3 weeks to blossom, etc., etc. He may be in Kochov Alfia, the days of the Bein Mitzarim in 3 weeks are 21 days, because Man Gidla Shakid, like the time that takes for the almond to grow. K'drash Chazal Darshan Shizman Gidla Shakid Duchav Dalya, and the time how much it takes an almond to grow is 21 days. That's why Yirmiyahu and Navi was shown that the goal is to transform it to good. Especially when we're standing on the day of the 3rd of Tammuz. The Rebbe calls us the beginning of the redemption of Yud Beis and Gimel Tammuz. Asher al Gula Zukasav Baal Hagula, concerning the Gula of Yud Beis Tammuz, the Frierdiker Rebbe writes, Shagula Zuil Chol Yisrael, this Gula is for all Yid. Even someone that's named by the name Yisrael. Also someone that all he knows that his name is Yisrael, the Geula affected him. So the Geula is not just in someone that just called him Shem Yisrael, but it's also in those that are love Torah, the Holy Torah, and keep mitzvahs. Also in them it affects the exit and the redemption from their limitations and their boundaries. These are the limitations of Kedusha. The goal of this Geula is to affect in the entire world. She's that all obstacles should cease. And just the opposite, that upon those obstacles and those that are standing away, they should become fearful. You become totally bottled like the dust of the earth. Yes, Akasha calls that in Drush, we can connect all this with a mimer of the Rebbe Rashab, skip the parentheses. The pasuk that from sprays, I've called out to Hashem, respond to me in broadness, Hashem. The Teichna, the content of that pasuk is the goal of the straits is the calling of the straits. The and this calling will bring to the true broadness. So too we can connect this, what's explained by the Torah Hashirim, skip the parentheses again, 4 lines down. It's Kilasa in the beginning, ala pasuk that says She'ashir Mashal Shloimeh. So it says over there on that pasuk that Lashon Shirim, Lashon Rabim, Koyal Bino Malchus. That says plural Shirim. So it's going on both the sphere of Bino Malchus and the word Macher. It's explained in a different place. Again, skip the parentheses. The spheres of Malchus, if it's made, so spheres of Malchus is considered a constraint. Because it descends, its legs descend to death, it goes into Biah where there's Nevroim. I think in Bina and Yanor Chavis Anar, Bina is just the opposite. It's about broadness of the river because it expands on the words of Chachma. Al Tach Sarach was till the ultimate broadness. Merchav Yudke, it's the broadness of Hashem. Zeu Inyan Minameitza Anar Merchav, that's what it means from the straits. Answer me in the broadness. Minameitza Barmalar Merchav, from the straits we come to the broadness. And here the Rebbe concludes with the bracha, V'yiratzim Shbi the will of Hashem. We fulfilled in us that from the straits we call Hashem, and He will respond to us from broadness. He's battle in the whole idea of the 3 weeks should be nullified. Especially since the third of Tammuz is still close to the Chodesh Tammuz. Includes all the days of the month. Then we can nullify all negative things. And we add in a goal immediately the redeemed actually accepting the Rambam like will be like the Rambam rule. These days are in the future going to be days of Yom Tovim of rejoicing. Like it says, that the fast of the 4th month, in other words, Tammuz will be for Yidden as a rejoicing and to Yom Tovim. And the Rambam adds and brings down also the conclusion of the pasuk in his halachas, that truth and love, peace they love, and this is affected through peace. In an Achtus Yisrael, the idea of unity of Yidden, that's the novelty of the Gulsi based Tammuz that involved all the Yidden, even Asher Hashem Yisrael B'chuna, the Yikuim Zav Bias and Shevzet Kenu Boy from Miyad Mamish, this will be fulfilled with the coming of Mashiach in a way of immediate way.